Hi there, I'm Katie Wagner. Welcome to Social Media Help Desk. We are coming to you from KWSM Atlanta. We are on location this week for Social Media Help Desk. This is the time every week when we get together to talk about social media tips and advice, the things that are working for us, and all the changes that we're talking about around the agency. Thanks for joining us. We do this every Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific Time. Today I'm in KWSM Atlanta with content editors Adam.
Hello.
Hello. And Shanice. Hi. Hi. And today we're going to talk about all kinds of good things. The first is that Google has a new AdWords interface. So Google AdWords are a popular tool. We have a lot of clients who like to do Google campaigns. And now they're making adjustments to the tools for AdWords that you can now tweak the AdWords targeting on mobile better. So they've changed the interface so that you can tweak keywords on mobile better. And we know this is important because most people are looking at AdWords or any kind of content on mobile these days.
What is the percentage of people looking on mobile now? I think it's the majority of people coming into mobile to look at ads. So if your ads aren't effective on mobile, your ads aren't effective at all. So sort of about time they got on that, I think.
Yeah, and they've always allowed you to optimize it for mobile, but now they've made the interface to do that a little savvier, let's say, a little easier to use. So I think that's a big deal. But the thing, Shanice, that made me laugh was they came out with this study saying in 2017, I'm going to read so I don't get it wrong, they removed 3.2 billion ads from Google AdWords because they violated policies. So 3.2 billion people were doing the wrong thing out there. And actually, I have a list of the ways they were doing the wrong thing. 79 million had ads that sent people to malware.
Wow.
Yeah, not good. 66 million had what they call trick-to-click ads. That is my new favorite word of the day, trick-to-click.
Click here, click more.
Yes.
Any of the encouraging people to click or begging them to go into it.
Clickbait, we call that, right?
Exactly.
So 66 million trick-to-click. And 48 million, you clicked on the ad and it loaded unwanted software on your computer. Whoops. Yep. So Google got rid of all of those in 2017, and we're hoping 2018 is much more on the up and up.
That's good. Hopefully it allows people to not to be so reluctant to click on ads too when they're searching on Google, because of those bad ads that send you places that you don't think you're going to go to, and even downloading things onto your device or computer unwanted. That's just not good. So hopefully these people who have been victims to that in the past, they can, trust us a little bit more as advertisers.
we can all click a little easier.
Yes. It only takes one bad ad to scare somebody off from ever clicking.
Yes.
That's true.
You want to make sure the experience is simple and legitimate.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, and the message we've got today for advertisers is if you're not looking at how your AdWords are paying, or being displayed on mobile, now might be the time to do that. Mobile's huge.
Absolutely.
All right, the next thing is one of my favorite updates of the week. Instagram has changed their algorithm again, but they changed it back, which is what I think is hilarious. So they went with an algorithm change to make the algorithm more like the one we're seeing on Facebook, where it prioritizes different content and shows it to different people. People got so mad about it that they switched it back. And now they say it is closer to chronological. They're not saying it's chronological.
I was one of those people angry about it for sure, so I'm excited about it. Because the move away from chronological might be great for advertisers occasionally, and I understand the concept behind it, but it is very annoying. If I go on Instagram, I want to see what my friends are posting. I want to see what they're doing in real time. I don't want to, miss out by a few days. It's not as exciting.
Right.
So
as the poster of our company Instagram, it actually made me a little lazy because I don't have to post day of. They're going to see it 2 days from now anyway.
Okay, that's a good
right.
point.
Right. Now, it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying I got a little slack on it. And I was one of the people that loved Instagram at the beginning because Instagram was the only channel that was really chronological. I mean, I guess Twitter, but Instagram's more visual. And I could really scroll through, and when I got to the last post I saw, I knew I'd seen everything.
Yeah.
Right? You could get all the way back to the beginning. And there were studies that showed that Instagram was one of the only channels where people did consume all of the content because they would scroll all the way back. And then they changed the algorithm, and now I can't find anything. I see the same posts over and over again. And it's funny, because tell me if this has happened to you, Adam. The biggest complaint they got was that if somebody accidentally refreshed the feed, they couldn't see the post they were just trying to look at again.
Oh, happened to me constantly. Yes, all the time. And then you would just see something you already ran into earlier in the day,
Right.
and then you're like, oh, are my friends just not posting anymore? And it's strange that Twitter moved away from chronological, Facebook has moved away from chronological, and it's never gone over well with consumers. So Instagram splitting the difference might be a move in the right direction to where advertisers can get what they want, and they can tailor content a little more to you, but users are getting the experience they want as well.
And influencers aren't so angry. I've seen so many influencers complaining about this whole, no one's seeing my content, and where are my followers? No one's engaging because they can't see their content. So
Right.
now even when brands partner with influencers, that's even better because, these influencers, their audience is seeing their content even more and on a daily basis. So they're loving it.
Yeah. Well, an Instagram influencer is like a job title these days, right?
Yes,
Like
it is.
people make a lot of
Yeah.
money being Instagram influencers, so you don't want to tick those people off. All right, and our third update is an interesting one from Facebook. We were just talking about this in the office this morning. So Facebook allows you to target ads based on all kinds of things, interests, job title, things that you like. But they've now done away with the ability to target based on the phrase interested in. So as a woman, I could say I'm interested in men. Or if I was interested in women, I could say interested in women. And it allowed advertisers to target based on sexual orientation. And Facebook says, we're not going to allow you to do that anymore, and they removed it. What do you think of that?
Well, it's an excellent tool, and I think part of it comes out of the harassment aspect, where certainly people can target ads to any group, and that's fine, but that's kind of a weapon in the hands of other people, and so I think that they were getting a lot of mixed messages, and people were getting ads that were more offensive or harassing, and so this seems like a pretty simple change that probably shouldn't have been put into it in the first place, but it is interesting to see that they're cracking down on abuse to that degree. So I'm very comfortable with that. I don't think that it's a necessary push.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that. I'll
Excellent.
respectfully disagree with that. So I agree with you that it keeps harassment out of it, and Facebook actually says that's why they did it, because people were targeting malicious things.
Okay.
And I think it's a sad commentary that that's the way our world is, that people are using it to that extent.
Absolutely.
But as a marketer, my strictly marketing hat now, I think that's useful for a lot of products that appeal to people who are interested in one gender or the other, no matter what sex they may be, right? I think that's a common way to divide an audience, and so it's a little disappointing to me from a strictly marketing standpoint.
And there are reasons to do it, certainly. I just think that we can be more creative with marketing and maybe find other interests around there that would target the same audiences.
Okay, touche.
So it's an exercise in creativity for us. So yeah, there's definitely a downside, but I feel that the positive change, it's going to be positive change overall.
And Facebook does like nothing better than to make our jobs harder.
Exactly.
So they're doing their job in that. Shanice, how do you feel? Are you on Team Adam or Team Katie?
I am kind
Careful.
of split down the middle.
Oh, Switzerland.
I'm
Yes.
going to be Switzerland. So I do agree that we can definitely utilize that as marketers. I know I used to have a client where I would target based on men who would buy for their wives, or if it's a man and he would buy for his husband. So that would be useful in that sense. But if it is getting rid of harassment, I think it benefits the user more than it hurts the marketer. So
We're taking one for the team. Taking one for the team, us marketers. You know what irritated me about the whole thing, though, is that this isn't the only targeting capability they got rid of. And they got rid of recently, you may not have even noticed this, one of my very favorite ones. And that's the ability to target the fans of other pages.
Yes, I ran into it recently. Absolutely.
Did you? It's sad. That one's real sad for me.
Yes, although I guess it's more of a anti-competition concept, but it was fantastic, especially if you're targeting a group that would benefit, or if you're trying to get some kind of synergy with another business or another company, which is why I ran into it, is trying to work with a client who wanted to, have the same audience, and then we were going to share with somebody else, third party, and we can't do that anymore. So it does become very frustrating.
Well, so there were good I mean, yes, Facebook says they're trying to cut down on us stealing our competitors' fans, right? As if anyone would do that. But there's some downsides because, like, let's say we have a client that does healthy eating or diet type stuff, and they want to target people who like gyms, right? So we could find big gyms and target the fans of their page.
Right.
That's legitimate use for that, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if it is a fitness group, which we represent a number of them, maybe there's somebody that's across the country that is in the same general program. Well, we want to target that same audience. That's very helpful, actually. I mean, that you can use that to benefit other pages and other companies, and I think it's a really disappointing thing for them to get rid of, and again, them making our jobs more interesting.
That is what they do.
Yes.
That is what they do. This is why we get paid the big bucks, to sort through all this, right, Shanice? Definitely. All right, so that's the news of the week. Now let's turn our attention to something a little more fun, and that's some ways to engage your Facebook audience. So we've told you that the ads may not, our targeting preferences may not be there anymore, but there's still lots of ways to get in front of your fans on Facebook and try to build a community. And so, Shanice, you wrote an article recently about Facebook groups and how important groups are. And I think people don't use groups as much as they use their Facebook fan page. Talk a little bit about what a group is and why you might want to use that.
Yeah, groups are a very underutilized tool on Facebook. People go to groups just to seek answers, connect with other people that they relate to, and just, get positive vibes sometimes, just to get some inspiration. And all of these people have something in common with each other, and that's the great thing about groups. So you can use groups to educate people, inspire people, and just talk to them and see, what they're up to. And they can even be a source of inspiration for you as well in your content.
Sure. So a group is a little bit different than a Facebook page, right? Because we can have a closed group or an open group or a private group, secret group, I think they call it. So we have, for instance, a closed group for the KWSM team, right, where we can communicate with each other all day long, but ain't nobody getting in there. It's only us. But an open group might be around an interest or a stage of life. It might be, I don't know, help me think of some good ones. A vegetarian group I might be in to share recipes.
We have our fitness group people to share their exercises and say, oh, this is my progress week 1, week 2, and stay motivated because working on a group is better. So.
So these are communities to a certain extent, right? They're little focus groups that you can join, different than a public Facebook page, just a group of like-minded people. And we find, as marketers, that it's really beneficial to post in there because you're going to a targeted, group of people who have the same interest, right? And so you have some tips here. Facebook groups are becoming increasingly popular, so tell me how you would use them to educate.
So there's various ways, since there are different businesses. So if you are like a therapist or a business coach, or you represent your brand, your face represents your brand, you can go in there as yourself, and you can share a recent blog post that you posted, or you can have someone as a member of your team share that from your page, and that will send people to your Facebook business page. And you really have to be careful with the amount of times you do this, because groups do have rules a lot of the time, and most of them say, do not market your content. So if you find that a group says that, you might want to get a team member to share that post, just occasionally, so you don't annoy people.
Well, but I think there's a difference, back me up on this, a difference between like marketing or selling and sharing valuable content. So if we write a blog post about why social media is good for law firms and share it in a law firm group, that's helping. The fact that it comes from us, there's a little marketing edge, but for the most part, it's valuable.
Yes.
I think one thing that we run into is that people tend to go in there and go, hey, I have a new gym opening down the street, everybody come join, right?
Don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's on the no list.
Yes.
Because it annoys people, mostly, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting learning about not just your client, but your client's audience from a more genuine perspective as well. So I think going into groups and just reading what people are asking about, what people are talking about, what people are interested in, it's motivation and inspiration regardless. Even if you're not posting it as often, you should be paying attention to sort of the pulse of your client.
Well, it's a listening tool,
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
We had a client recently that wrote a book on divorce, and so we found a lot of divorce groups, and we would go in and see what kinds of questions are women going through divorce asking.
Exactly.
And that is another one of the points you make here. That gives us blog content for days, right?
Exactly. And even social media posts, or if you do a Facebook live stream, or just video content, it's great to go in there daily and just see what people are talking about, see what people are asking, and just ask those questions. And you have great authentic content that you know people are genuinely interested in.
I think that's something that marketers, business owners, whoever's running your social forgets. There are ways to find out what people care about. Right? We don't have to make it all up.
Yeah.
We can actually crowdsource this information and be part of the conversation rather than just the pushing and the sales all the time.
And that goes the same thing for business. Like if you have a business and you're wanting to market or even just understand your clients better, you should be in groups because you may have a very partitioned view of how you are talking to your audience, but you might be missing out on a ton of new ideas and new content, new ways to speak to them. You might have needs that they want to address. Like there's a lot of reasons to be using groups for sure.
A lot of people spend so much time just thinking, I don't have a blog topic, I don't know what to talk about on my website, what should I post next? And when you have that writer's block, just go into a group and try and find some inspiration.
We might be going into a group to find some social media questions later, so we can answer them for you. It's funny you say that because I just had a coaching client right before we got on the air here, and he asked me the number one thing coaching clients ask me, which is, what do I talk about? Because there's nothing interesting about my business. I don't have news to share. And people don't realize that it's your expertise people want. It doesn't have to be a big company announcement. Just find out what people interested in your services or potentially interested are talking about.
And show them what value you have and how you can address it. Because chances are, as an expert, you have an answer.
Yes.
So find out what people need you to tell them.
Let's hope you have an answer.
Yeah,
right?
true.
Well, you should get an answer.
You can find one.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then Shanice, sometimes you use it to drive interest to events or webinars, things that you're having.
Yes, so if you happen to see someone, ask a question, it could even spark the interest to say, hey, maybe I should, host a seminar about this, and then I can invite that person or these group of people, since they have so much in common, to my seminar, my event. And then you don't want to just share the event and say, hey, come to my seminar. You can just be personable, like be conversational and say, hey, I saw that you had this question or had this concern. Maybe my seminar could help. Maybe this could interest you, or this topic. And it makes the connection more genuine and just authentic.
Oh, be human,
Yes.
right? All right, and before we leave the topic of groups, I think there is one thing that we need to clarify for people, that when you go in a group, you have to go as a person.
Yes.
Right? So a business can't participate in a group. A business page can't participate in a group. You have to be a human, a person, with a profile on Facebook, right? And so in the case of a business, I'm the business owner, but I would want to use my profile to go into the group as the owner and not as KWSM or social media, right? So get someone on your team to join the group, or you as the owner or the marketing person, but it has to be a human in the group, because that's what groups are about, people connecting, right?
Right.
All right, any final thoughts on groups before we move on?
I just think we should always keep it top of mind. If you are just stuck, groups are a great place to just save yourself and get great content, meet great people.
When in doubt, hit a group, right? All right, I like it. All right, and so you talked a little bit about being stuck, and one of the ways that as marketers we can feel stuck is when we're putting out a bunch of great stuff and we know it's good content and no one is engaging with it, right? We're seeing no likes, no comments, but more importantly, no clicks, no people going back to the website. Sometimes we blame that on the algorithm.
Absolutely.
Right? And we've seen some algorithm changes that have happened recently. Adam, can you talk a little bit about the change that happened, I guess, in January?
They started punishing organic reach, which is something that a lot of people put quite a bit of stock in. People that are just naturally going to see your content, and with a Facebook punishing publishers, and it's not necessarily punishing, but trying to focus more on the friend aspect and the family aspect and the connection part of it with the people that are on your page, it definitely hurt a lot of people. And it's tougher to have your content seen, especially if it's very much an ad. If the content isn't original, if it isn't creative, if you're not keeping up with it, people aren't going to see it now. So you're more reliant on paid or changing your content so people will see it organically.
Yeah, so I don't know if Facebook would admit they were punishing us. We know
Yes.
it's the truth. But they said we're not going to show as much business content, right? We're going to show people their friends and family content.
Right.
And a lot of marketers, we actually talked about this on one of our first episodes of Social Media Help Desk, so go find it. But people freaked out, right? They called it Facebook again.
Yeah.
Right? They freaked out. How can I market? I can't. Nobody will see my content. And we said, because we were trying to be the voice of reason at the time, as long as you're putting out good content, who cares?
Exactly.
Right? It's good. It's good. We can weed out all the people that are spamming people. And as long as we have good, educational, engaging, interesting content, you got nothing to worry about.
And your organic reach will probably not take as big of a hit as you think if you are having those contents. Like, there are definitely clients who are seeing almost no drop in reach, or even just a few hundred people fluctuation. That's because we're keeping content fresh. We're not over posting. So there's companies that will put out 15 articles a day.
Sure.
But having quality content and stuff that's actually engaging to the audience, people were really afraid over next to nothing. So a little bit of creativity, that went a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you have some tips on how to engage, but I want to bring up one more thing before we get into them, and that's that the other thing that's sort of making this perfect storm of a dip in engagement is that for the first time ever, Facebook has seen people not use their channel as much.
Right.
Right? That was, were you guys surprised when you saw that fewer people are on Facebook?
It was the first.
I know. I don't use Facebook as much.
What?
I'm more of an Instagram person. But I think it's a generational thing. But with the
I'm trying not to take that personally because I'm on Facebook, daily. That's okay. That's all right. Adam, we'll just scoot over here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shanice. What were you saying?
But it didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Just because with all of these changes, people like consistency. And when Facebook is just changing, it has an update every week, and they're not liking the experience that they're having when they get on Facebook and there's something new, then, they're not going to use it. But I do think that, there are still a significant amount of people using Facebook, so it didn't take a huge dive. But, we're not happy about that whole reach thing.
Yeah. I think, so the actual stat is that 67% of the population used to say they use Facebook, and now 62% says they use Facebook. 5%. It's small,
drop.
but it's large,
They haven't had a drop since 2007. I think it's been consistent growth for users year over year. So again, that's going to happen eventually. They're going to have a downturn. I think if we see 2 or 3 more years of that, we might be a little bit worried. But a single year drop, I think people may be reading too much into it.
No, but I think Shanice has a point that maybe they just ticked us off for the last time.
That's true.
People are abandoning the ship.
Absolutely, and there is a campaign to delete Facebook and things like that. And
Wow.
I think that it's, you hear social media can occasionally get a little bit loud with things that maybe aren't as popular as we think by our feeds.
Yes.
But I think that Facebook has a lot to do to sort of gain back people's trust and enthusiasm. But given they've been around for so long, I have no doubt that they're going to be able to do that and improving the user experience. And that comes to us as well. Making sure the content that's on the platform is quality is going to bring people back regardless. So
I'm sure this whole Russian ads thing is totally helping also.
Oh yeah, exactly. It hasn't hurt them at all.
Engendering a lot of trust in Facebook.
Yeah.
But, I say that tongue in cheek, but it's still the biggest platform. It's still got the most
Absolutely.
users out of every social media channel. So, I don't think as marketers of our businesses, it can never be ignored because you've still got significant amount of customers and potential
And
customers.
especially the people that are still there are going to be the people that are your audience. I think a lot of the dip has been from younger people and teenagers and people. Exactly. And far younger, so I think that there might be people that are going to be future Facebook users that are not necessarily on right now. And the audience is still there. It's exactly the audience you're trying to market to.
That's true. There are
So-
people that are adults with money and
Exactly.
buying habits, and
You know, college students and above that have disposable income and that are on there constantly, and yet
that's true.
still the best platform to be on.
I hear you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your tips too. We'll get to your article now. Sorry. Let's talk a little bit about your tips to engage, and you have a couple of ideas for types of content that actually ask for engagement. Help us out there.
And this is something that we've seen success with over a number of pages, and not myself. What you want to think about is content that is tailored to make your page more like a group, for example. You want to have your audience in there talking. You don't want to just show them a 50% off sale. So there are a number of small things, and all of them are free. They're easy to do, and they're extraordinarily effective. The first one that I commented on was polls and quizzes are a big thing. People love that.
Yes.
And people
You're
adore
agreeing.
polls and quizzes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And there are a number of free services to do that. Riddle, QuizBeam, SurveyMonkey. There's a lot of things out there to do that are free. They're very simple. The key is to make them relevant and to make them enjoyable. Don't look at it as we're going to quiz your spending habits and how to keep it in your family.
Right.
Make it silly, make it fun, make it irreverent, have it be around current events. And it's a very quick way because everybody wants to get quizzed. Encourage people in your post as well. Share your quiz results. Let's try to compare people. It just fosters a great amount of engagement, people talking, people laughing about their sharing things like Facebook. You have those abilities to just hit a button and they can share with all of their friends. They're both incredible ways to bring people in. And, for things like quizzes, if you slip in a few questions that are going to help out your business or future strategies, no one needs to know. But it's a great way to get to know your customers. And I think that's going back to the group thing. You want to know who you're targeting instead of just assuming that you know. And that's one of the best ways to do it.
So Adam, you're not talking about like which Harry Potter character am I, right? You're talking about creating content that engages
Yes.
with your business in some way.
Exactly. And sometimes those may be fun quiz to do. And you might want to do something silly, like, a new Star Wars movie comes out and tie it into your business in some way. You can do fun quizzes and that's great. But you do want to make it relevant to what you're selling. If you're selling dog treats, well, what kind of dog are you? And then you put things like that. And it's, might not be the most simple process coming up, but that's sometimes getting the ideas on where to go. It's actually a really fun process once you get going into it. You have so much latitude for fun. I can't speak highly enough of those. They're just always excellent regardless because you're going to get your audience in there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and Facebook has a poll question now.
Yes.
It actually, in the buttons you push to create content when you're writing a status update, create a poll is one of the options.
And same with Twitter, which Twitter's had that for a very long time and seen a lot of success. And I've put it on my personal Twitter, I've put it on clients' channels, and it always does well, and it's always fun to do. So that's one of the key components. If you need to put something up that week and you're like, I want something fun, go with a poll or a quiz or something, and make something fun, and then show your personality through it to your customers.
I think it's good to test out different variations as well. Since
Yes.
we brought up Facebook poll as creating a quiz on a third-party site, just to see which one gets you more feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, so along those lines, tell me about contests. Because people love contests and giveaways.
Oh yeah, and there's nothing new about contests. Those have been around for forever. But they are extremely effective on social media. So if you may have a giveaway that's, we're going to, give us your email address, you'll be in to win 100 copies of this book, or we'll give you a free fitness training session, or we'll, consult with you on social media, etc. There's a lot of ways to do that. You want to make sure to package them as an experience as opposed to putting up a flashy ad, say buy now, 50% off. Make it something fun. Make it something that they're going to be engaging in, that they're going to be talking about. Especially when it comes to Twitter, make sure that part of it is like and retweet this tweet. Make sure that people are engaging to that degree, and that's going to take you fairly far. Because people do love to go into those things, especially if you say like and retweet this, get a free book or something. People are going to do that. It's a quick and easy push of the button for them, and it also makes it makes people happy. People love to win things. Have them come back, and it's a great way to get reviews for your products.
Yes.
Give them away. Ask, hey, you won this, but can you give us a 5-star rating on Facebook? You know, and you just sort of use that to.
Or I like to say, send us a picture when you get your product.
Yes, exactly.
Right, and we can use
Great
that.
content.
Or people using their product, or there's so many ways to turn a contest that is small amount of work for you, and you're going to get your product out there, and you're going to get a ton of user-generated content, which again is always more effective. It's always going to get more engagement. It's going to get you more organic reach. Showing things from your customers is one of the best techniques for keeping people engaged.
And they're shared with their friends.
Yeah.
They love it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, Shanice, I know for some of your clients, we do a thing called Win It Wednesday a lot, where we're asking trivia questions and they're entered for a chance to win. And I'm always surprised at week after week how many people will enter those
They
things.
come back every week, and it's like they wait for us to upload.
Yes.
Immediately, they will post their answer, and all they have to do is answer the question and like the post and share it with a friend, and that's it.
And yet, tell me what that does for the client. Like, what are we getting out of that? Because we're giving away a small item every week.
Yeah.
Not a huge spend. But you're not boosting those posts. You're not paying
No.
for ads behind them. It's
No.
just organic, right?
Yes, and I get so many new people coming to our page every week just by them tagging their friends so they can join in too. So a lot more people are learning about that specific client just by their friend answering a question and in hopes to win one product.
and you get a lot of images of people in the makeup that
Yes.
constantly come in,
Yes.
which are also again that's
Yes, and then
prime
when they
content.
get that product, I just
Yeah.
ask them, hey, can you snap a quick picture? And they most of the time they send it to me.
Right. And user-generated content is powerful,
Yes.
right? It's a lot better to have them say, I love this, than have
Yes.
you say, I love,
Yeah.
the company say, I love this.
Everyone knows you love your brand.
Exactly.
Let's hope.
Customers trust you more when other people
Yes.
are saying, this is great.
Social Proof 101, right? All right, Adam, any other thoughts on what makes content engaging?
You want it to be, again, less about your marketing side of things and trying to look like a commercial and more about having something people want to actually take part in. And it goes back, if you don't have time to do a quiz or poll, you can do, quotes, inspirational images. Take a funny picture or video around the office. Like small 10 to 20 second videos do exceptionally well. If you do a Facebook Live, take a chunk out of that, put it in. The phrase is to think about as snackable content. You want something that's 10 or 15 seconds of somebody scrolling through, they're going to giggle or hit the like, etc. And then they can go on, so you're not inviting them to read 10 pages of a post. You're just giving them something small, quick. It builds up your identity, it builds up people's affection for you, and you should really take advantage of that, especially when you start getting user-generated content. That's perfect to put out. Reviews will always do well. You need to start thinking outside the box out of just your ads or a third-party content.
I like it. That's a good note to end on. Thanks, Adam. Any final thoughts, Shanice?
I just think that, everyone was so gung-ho on the Facebook reach and just caught up with, people aren't going to see my content. But like we said, if you have creative content that your audience is genuinely interested in and you're looking for new ways to reach that audience, then you should be good.
End of story. Hey, thanks to you guys for joining us. We do this every Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific time. You can join us on our Facebook page anytime. And listen, if you need extra tips or advice anytime in the meantime, before we see you again, 2 places you can get it. First, we have a blog on our website. We post every day helpful articles like the 2 we discussed today. And we have a playlist on our YouTube channel. It's called Tip of the Day, where you'll see us all on camera giving you tips. You can also watch past episodes of Social Media Help Desk there. So as always, like our Facebook page so that we can stay in touch, and subscribe to our videos, and please like this post so that we know you're watching. Thanks, good to see you.